How you going, guys? Got an install video today. This is for a unit for Hyundai i30s, I believe in the 2012 to 2014 year range. So if your dashboard looks like this car is a 2013. Just going to go over the factory head unit first of all. So pretty bare bones, obviously being quite an old setup here. So you've got the radio, media setup and EQ buttons on the side. So radio is obviously going to take you to the radio, and you can have your basic, FM and AM channels. These are obviously static at the moment, but you can obviously save up to 6 stations per, radio mode. And you can press the mode button on the steering wheel like I've just done there. And then you've also got a CD player. So if I go onto media, then obviously there's a CD in this car, and the steering wheel controls, I can change the volume. Annoyingly, it does change the entire screen when you touch the volume for a few seconds, and then eventually goes back to where you were actually on. But yeah, then you can also see a list of every song that's on the CD you've got plugged in, I suppose. So that's pretty good. And then I think scan will scan for a CD if you updated the CD. There's a few buttons there, which I'm not too sure what they do. Then you've also got like answering phone call and hanging up a phone call. So if you're on the Bluetooth hands-free, then that's how you can control those. Alright, so to remove the factory unit, first we need to take off the aircon vents, which are actually these full silver pieces that you see going up the side. And the way to do that is grab one of our removal tools that come in the kit, just like this, and you can just get it between this black and the silver like that. This one's a bit blunt actually because it's quite an old one, but the ones you get in the kit will be brand new, just like that. And we get a little bit of a gap here, just sort of get this bottom bit just slightly separated, and then it comes towards you. So if you just grab the silver bit and pull towards you like this, you'll see it all starts to come away all the way to the top. There you go, and there you go. You can see all of the clips here. So just sort of, rotate it up towards you like this. And I'll just put that in the back seat without knocking over the camera. And we'll do the next one. And just make sure it's not taking this black part with it, because it will sometimes try to do that. And you can also just get your trim tool in the bottom there to separate it from that if it is trying to do that, as you can see. There we go. And that's away. If you like, you can just fix up these sort of black pieces as well pretty easily. All right. Next step, the actual screen itself is being held down by 4 screws and the aircon / hazard cluster here. So what you need to do is actually remove all 8 screws. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 with a screwdriver, and then we will remove the aircon panel first. So I'll just unscrew all of these and then just drop your screws into the cup holder so you don't lose them. Okay, and that's the last screw coming out there. So once we've got every screw out, then we just need to pull this bottom bit. So it's got 2 clips just holding it at the bottom, so try and focus most of your force down there, but you can also grab these little bits here. It's kind of just this little tab that you can use to leverage it out, but there you go. And it's plugged in, but we don't need to unplug this, so you can sort of just let it loosely hang there, and then this will just slide out extremely easily. So I'll just show you. In the back, on this year anyway, all we've got is an antenna plug and the 2 white main plugs there. So all you need to do for the white ones is push down the tab on each of them and pull them out, and then the antenna one just comes straight out. So I'll just do that now. If any of the plugs get stuck, the white ones particularly, just push them all the way back into the unit again, and then try the clip again, because it could be stuck like that. But that's all of the removal we need to do, so we'll go ahead and show you everything that comes in the kit. Alright, so I've just unboxed everything that came in the kit and laid it out on the table so that I can go through one by one and explain it. So here's the screen itself, attached to the fascia. Obviously that's going to give it a factory fit. Not much going on there, but I will show you as well. So this is our M series, so the back looks like this, and most importantly the main power plug is this 20 pin one here. We're just at the moment, at the time of recording this video, transferring over to our G series, which is our next generation of head units. So depending on which one you've gotten, which you've ordered, we've got the cable kit here. This is for the M series, so this one today. And you just need to check whether this black plug basically is going to fit this one, whereas this one here will be for our G series, which has a slightly different main power plug, just like that. So keep that in mind. But yeah, those are the two main harnesses. As you remember from the car, there's barely any cables, so obviously there's literally just one plug that gets transferred over to our unit. And then next up, we've got all of our accessory cables. As you can see, I've laid them out along here. So this one is just a USB connection to hook up to the unit. So whatever you plug into this, that goes into the back of the unit. Whatever you plug into this will be picked up by the unit for data transfer. So that's good for adding accessories like USB dash cams, tire pressure monitoring, or even just USB storage, music, movies, anything like that, or doing a firmware update. We've also got this one here. So again, back of the unit with this white plug, and it's got two more USB ports and a microphone jack. So a microphone does come with the kit. It's just here, and this is basically just a bit better than the one that's on the screen if you want to hook that up somewhere in the car to get a better sort of sound quality. And we've also got our 4G SIM reader. So if you want to give the unit its own SIM card so it can have mobile data, there's a 4G antenna that hooks up with the unit as well. So the unit can be treated as a tablet with its own connection and can be used anywhere that your phone can. So without connecting your phone up to it. So that's pretty good. Got the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antenna. So this is pretty easy. The unit works without this, but it just increases the range. So it just plugs straight into the back of the unit and nothing else really happens with it. This just can sort of dangle back there. This is a variation of that same plug. So it's also got a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi wire on it. But if you're running like an aftermarket amp, which you're unlikely to with this car, but if you were, you've got all of these RCAs for the different, pre-outs, so the front and left, rear and, front and left, rear and back, and the sub. Then we've also got the camera cable here. So this car doesn't have a factory camera. If you wanted to add a camera, or if you did have a factory camera in the car, then this is what you would use. It's got the cam in wire here with the purple one would be for what pops up when the car goes in reverse, and then the black one is the front camera plug. So if you wanted to add any extra camera, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the front, then that's accessible through the app, or if you switch to the front display when you're in reverse. Then we've also finally just got this brown plug here, which gives you another video and then auxiliary in left and right. So that's just for a specific kind of device, which is a camera which has sound as well. But this is rarely ever used, and even less so probably on a car like this. But yeah, then we've got, obviously I already showed you the 4G antenna, but we've also got our GPS antenna. So just need to hook this up. I'll show you where in the car, but the idea is just have no metal between it and the sky. And then the unit's going to be able to pick up satellites, and no matter where you are, have its own built-in navigation if you download a navigation app. So that's really useful. The microphone we went through, and then these two cables here, just in case you've got a slightly, I think, newer version of factory head units. So basically, as you can see on this unit, on this plug, we get our USB connection, or USB retention straight from the factory plug. So this USB plug here will go into one of our USB plugs into the unit, and that's going to make it so the factory USB port can be picked up on the unit. But if your factory head unit has another plug, which is like a 4-pin one, then that's going to do what that would have done for us. And similarly with the radio antenna, if instead of just having a plug like this, like I do from the factory unit, you have something that would go into this, then that's just going to transfer that so it's able to go into our unit. But for me, the factory one can go direct into the unit already, so that's pretty good. Then we just have some other useful stuff. So we've got, this is a wire pulling tool, which we'll probably use today. Some face removal tools, which I already went through in the removal of the factory unit. This here, it's mostly used for if you're using a USB rocker panel plug, which this car doesn't have room for, so one doesn't come in the kit obviously. But it's basically an extension of our 20-pin power cable that you can see there. But it has a battery wire, a ground wire, and an accessory wire coming off of it, which means you can easily tap in and get 12 volt battery or accessory to anything that you want to. So if you're hooking up another device that just requires power near the head unit, then that's pretty useful. And it also comes with this handy wire tapping tool. And we've also got our OBD2 scan tool. So if you've got a diagnostics port in the car, you can plug this in and connect up via Bluetooth to your phone or the head unit. And if you've got an app downloaded on there that can read OBD2 scan tools, you can get anything that your car has a scanner for, you know, visible and clear codes and stuff like that. Got some manuals here. Unit comes with the standard 8GB memory stick, so that's good for updates, storing music, movies, anything you like, downloading apps. A nice little stubby holder. Hey guys, so one other thing that does come in the kit, which is completely optional to do, but if your car didn't come with a reverse camera, you'll probably want to do this, is a reverse camera. So I didn't mention this before because it didn't come in this test box, but it will be added to all of these units that we sell in the future. Please let us know if somehow you didn't receive one. But yeah, we will be hooking this up today. It's going to be a bit of a process because you've got to hook it up to the reverse lights to get a trigger, but I will show you every step. So, alrighty, so I'm back in the car now, and I've kind of just brought in with me the cables that I'm going to be hooking up today. So I'll go through one by one what they are, but first off, we'll start off with just the main harness. So nice and easy to plug in. Just look at it, just see the pins that line up. So this one's got 4 of the bigger pins on this side, and then 8, and then 4 on this side. So we know it's going to be this one on that side, and then this one on this side. They can only go in the way that they can go in, obviously, but yeah, just have a look first. And then what have we got? So we've got all our accessory cables, which I'm not going to hook all up at the moment because obviously they involve doing some wire routing and stuff, so those will be extra steps. But we've got this USB cable here, so just going to keep it simple and grab the pink one here, which is just a single USB, and that can go into that. And once this is in the back of the head unit, we will know that you know, we've got our USB port retained. And that's kind of all we need to test the unit, to be honest, at this stage. We've got this plug will go on the back of the unit, this will go on the back of the unit, and then we've got our radio antenna. Now, the other things I brought in the car with me, which this is the reverse camera cable, so we need to hook this up later on once we've routed the cable or the reverse camera through the car. So what that's going to be, this will go on the back of the unit, and then this is the reverse camera cable here. So this stuff will be at the back of the car, but at the front of the car we'll have this yellow RCA, that'll go into our purple cam in like that, and then we'll have coming off of the one from the back of the car obviously is the red cable, which will be our trigger wire, and we'll have to hook that up to off of our black plug here, the reverse in, just like that. So I'll show you how to do that later on, but that will be our reverse camera cable. We've got our SIM card reader. Not sure if the customer's going to want to use this in the future, but just in case, I'm going to route this into the glove box so it's accessible. We've got our dual USB and microphone cable. So again, I'm just going to put these 2 USB cables in here, just in case they, you know, the customer wants to use them. And then this microphone cable here, I will hook up to our microphone when I route that through, and I'll show you how to route that through to where I put it. And then we have our 2 antennas. So we've got the 4G SIM for the SIM card and the GPS, which I'll just hook up somewhere up here probably. And then I've got the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi antenna, which you can even just put in the back of the head unit now because it's always going to be in there. All right, so obviously we haven't done much yet, but it's good to just to give the unit a little bit of a test, make sure that, you know, the main power harness and that is working all well. So got the unit here, I've plugged in the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antenna in the back. Then we just need to put in the power plug, so the main 20 pin, just like that. We've got our factory radio antenna, which will just go into here. And then our USB cable, which is dangling all the way down here. That just goes into one of the accessory slots as well, the 4 pin. So just like that. And you'll notice this is a very loose fit at the moment. That's okay. We haven't transferred the brackets across from the factory one yet, which will allow you to screw it in. so don't worry about that too much. We can just put this here and get this resting. Actually, I might just hook it onto this first, like that, and then push it in like this. So there you go, extremely loose fit, so don't worry about that at the moment, but I'll just switch to the other side of the car and power it on. All right, just swap sides. Don't need to start the car all the way, you can just put it in accessory if you like. But what we should see is some life from the unit in a second. There we go, got Vhedia. I'll just shut the door, and we're just gonna test on basically everything that I show you in a second, what we're looking for. So that's tick one, we've got the unit starting up. Your timer's going to be wrong because we haven't put in the GPS yet, and even after you put in the GPS, it's going to take a minute to tune itself. So there we go, I've got the radio. I've already tuned this before, so you're going to start off with static, but if you open the radio and hit the search button, it's going to go through and find all the channels, let it do its thing, and once it's done, you should have a setup like this and you can go through. Alternatively, if you want to just test it really quickly, just tap one of these buttons once you start it up and it will find the next available frequency that's playing something. So you haven't tuned AM yet, so obviously this is just static. You won't have steering controls yet either way, by the way, so don't get scared. I'll show you in a sec. Just hit this, and as you can see, it's finding stations just fine. So I'll turn that just down for the second. I'll turn it off actually. To get steering wheel controls, these are hardwired. There's no CAN bus in this car, so it's not automatically going to be set for you. What you have to do is go to settings, car infotainment, scroll down, SWC stands for steering wheel controls, and just for each button, so volume up for example, you tap it and it will start flashing, and then you press it on the steering wheel control and there you go, it's bound. So I've done that for everything. There's volume up and down, skipping between the songs as you can see, the mute button to mute, and I didn't put mode to mode. That's just a personal choice, you can do it however you like, but I find the mode button's nowhere near as useful as this button. This is the microphone button, and basically when you're in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, this is going to make it so you can just tap this button and the voice assistant starts listening to you. So you tap the button and then say direct me home, or play a song, call somebody, text somebody, and it's going to do that. And I find that way more useful than switching to between radio and phone music, for example. So there you go. Also at this stage, try connecting up to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So the process is very similar for both of them. For Apple, which is what I have here, just go to Bluetooth, hit the search button in there, and you should see it'll pop up on your phone as Vhedia M, or your phone will pop up on here. So there you go, I got my phone, Jake's iPhone, I'll tap that. And as you can see on my phone, it's going to give me a pairing request. Don't worry about that code, just hit pair, allow contacts and favorites to sync, and continue. On the Android side of things, it's going to also CarPlay, sorry, hit connect. On the Android side of things, it's going to be the same thing, connect to Bluetooth, and then if you go into phone link, it's also going to give you on your screen on Android, it's going to ask you to like hit continue to go to Android Auto, and you'll get a similar sort of thing. But here we go, there's Apple CarPlay. So there we go, my music's coming through just like that, and navigation and that kind of thing will all work the same as you'd expect it to on your phone. So there we go, we've already got Apple CarPlay. So that's a lot of the unit working already. So we're just going to go through and kind of improve it a little bit. So we need to include the microphone. There is a microphone here for phone calls, which is actually quite decent, but just for the sake of the install video, I'm going to install the better one just up on the top right of the windscreen. And I'm also going to put in the camera, which is going to take even longer than the unit, so stay tuned for that. Alright guys, so I've just sort of spent some time trying to figure out the best way to do this reverse camera, and so this is what I've sort of found. So first of all, we kind of want to remove, let me just move the camera down, this piece here. It's a big plastic bit, and it's basically got 1, 2, 3 little things like this. They look like that. And the way you pop them off is just grab our sort of face removal tool. It's a bit harder with these ones that are in the indents, but you basically just like slide it under either side and you can just pop it out like that. So that's what I've done for all of those. And then once all 3 of those are out, you can get this off just quite simply by grabbing the side. You can use a face tool here if you need to, but yeah, just pop it up like that, and there we go. This will just come out like this, and I'll just put it off to the side. Now we've got here, obviously this whole section just lifts up easy, and then you can see the spare wheel. But what we need to do next is take out, let me just move this camera, it's a bit annoying, just take out a couple of these on this piece here. So again, the same sort of thing with the tool like that, but that will allow you to move this aside just enough to see there's like a little, let's see if I can see it on the camera. I've just moved our wire routing tool into it so it's easier to point out, but as you can see in there, just rotate that enough, there we go. We've got our wire routing tool going into this. Just give you some more zoom out for context. And basically, when you push that down all the way, it's going to end up coming up down underneath the unit, or underneath the car. So I'll push it down all the way, and you'll see it's going to come out there. So that's just underneath the car there. And I'll just show you, please bear with my filming here. It's a gimbal camera that's designed to not rotate, so I have to manually rotate it. But if you then go underneath the car, you should see, if I rotate this the way it needs to be, there you go. As you can see, underneath the car, we've got our red routing cable tool. So if I just drop this down to come underneath, sorry guys, I know this isn't perfect filming. Then we've got this down here, and up the top, we've got the other side of it just here. So I'll show you, there you go. We've got this going through the rubber grommet, getting pushed down to the bottom, and then I'll show you the next step. So next thing you want to do involves removing the number plate. So there's just a screw there and there, quite simple, pull it off. And then there's a hole here. And all you have to do is, same with before, is grab the wire pulling tool, push it through here, and it does have to initially go like right against this wall, because otherwise if you try and push it directly that way, it's just going to hit a wall. It's going to go down here, and then it's going to go sort of that way, and you'll eventually get the cable dropping just here. So that means I've now got this side of the camera cable, and the camera is just hanging here ready to be mounted. I put the number plate back on, and then we've just got to pull this side of the cable, the main part, through here, so then I can join it down here, and then we'll have the camera to the next point that we need it to be. So I'll mount the camera to do this. So next up, we've got our camera cable, get the 4-pin end, and we just want to route it onto this, which we've already pushed through. I think it might be best to, put it in the loop and then pull this all the way through, this little red and black, and then that way, there we go, can sort of have it caught on this little cross section. And then just need to pull it through. Might have to give it some guidance before it goes through this grommet here, so I'm just going to push it through with my hands as I pull this side. Just one bit down, 2 bits like that. And here we go. I've now got this all the way down where it needs to be. And I actually probably shouldn't have pulled that red and black wire down here too, because that is going to need to go back up, where I'll show you later, but we'll leave it now because we're actually, once we plug this in, going to pull this up a decent way. So that's our next step, is obviously just join these wires together. And because we're going to be pulling on it from one side after we do this, I recommend grabbing some electrical tape and just giving that a good tight wrap, so it's unlikely to come apart while we're pulling it back up to reduce the slack. So I'm going to go grab some electrical tape now. So I've taped that, so now I just need to pull it up through sort of as far as it can go, because we want to get as much slack on this side so we can then hook it up to the positive and negative power. So I've got this back through now, and see how much we can get. There we go, so it's sort of just tightened at the camera itself now, so I know that I've reached my limit. If I adjust the camera a little bit more, there we go, that's probably the right amount of cable length. So as you can see, I've now got this, and that's going to have to get up to there. If I don't have enough wire, I might have to add a bit more positive and negative, well, just regular wire to each of these to reach there, because in this car it is actually quite a distance from where you actually mount the camera, unfortunately. So I'll show you if I do that, but yeah, that'll be the next step. All right, so with this remaining cable, what we're going to do is we're going to get this up here, and then this spot here is going to be a bit of a crossroads, because we've obviously got this little box here, or this little rectangular little bit, and what's going to happen is this positive and negative is going to have to go up here and through up to there to then become the trigger wire power, and then the rest of it is going to have to go through there to get to the head unit along the sort of roof lining of the car. So yeah, we'll have to remove this grommet, and there might not be enough cable length of this to reach the reverse light. So if that does happen, I'll have to add a bit more wire length to this. But yeah, it's just unfortunate in this car, the camera mounting position and the reverse light is really far away for some reason. So yeah, see how we go. Okay, here we are. So all that I've done between the last recording you saw and now is just pull off this sort of rubber trim, and then it's really easy to just shove the cable up through this side bit. Don't worry about this stuff, it's not like glue you're removing or anything. This is obviously just melted a bit in the Australian sun. But yeah, obviously the chunkier bits are a bit harder to push under there. Just like do your best to pull it outwards and then push it under, it will fit. And then the other larger bit I've got up here. So now I do have still this cable here, which goes to the front of the car, which I've just thrown forward for now, which is going to end up going back through the roof in that direction. And then this cable here, which we're going to see how close we can get to this panel up top here. So I will start working on this rubber grommet over here, just at the top, right there. All right, next step is obviously just this trim here. It's literally just 4 clips like that. So just get your hand underneath this part and just pull it out. Take a bit of force, but it will just pop off. What I need to do here is route this along the roof lining. See if I can do this with my fingers, but if not, I'll grab the wire routing tool, and yeah, it's gonna be a bit painful. So I'll grab the wire routing tool, try and come in from a little bit of sideways angle here. There you go, it's gonna come back here. And I'll just move this to the other side of the tool, like so. And then grab our wire, pull it through about that much, that over the top. And there we go, so that's through to this part. Next step is through this grommet up to here. So this part can be a bit tricky because the rubber grommets are usually quite resistive to letting wire get through them. So a lot of the time, instead of using this part of the tool, I try to make it a bit easier. I take this bit off and then I just tape the wire along a length of this. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. All right, so there you go. I've just pushed this through. It's not really easy, to be honest. You just gotta do your best and sort of guide it through with your finger. It is quite tight, especially in this car. So I've got this to this point up here, and then I've got this taped along the edge here. And what's really gonna help is some WD-40 silicone spray. I haven't tried without yet, but I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna give it some silicone spray, particularly along this bit because it's the, obviously the widest part. So I'm gonna do that, and then just see how I go. This might take a few tries, so just be patient with it. But there we go, that was pretty decent. So here we go, this is how much I've got. So I'm actually gonna need to add some wire to this because I can already tell that it's not gonna get all the way up there, but that's okay. Wire's pretty cheap, so I'll show you how I do that in a second. All right, and I just wanna go handheld here to show you real quick what we're aiming for. So this is just the little panel here, which conveniently, if I just pop it off using a fascia tool, gives us access to all the bulbs up here. So the reverse one is this top left one, which goes white or yellow when the car's in reverse. And that is this one here at the back, which has the orange and black wire. So just a ground and power. So what we need to do obviously is chop those and use an SPL connector that's going to ensure that they're still running where they originally were, but we were also just piggybacking off of them. So I'll show you how I do that. And yeah, if we need to add extra cable length in there as well, we will, just so it's not super cramped. And yeah, you want to use a good wire stripper so there's no risk of cutting these, because obviously there's not a lot of cable there already. But yeah, just want to take off, I think there was a blue sticker holding these together. You want to take it off so then you've got the most space possible to give yourself room so that they're easy to join back together. So the next step for the routing is just going to be obviously this side bit here. So all it is there is a screw on there, just undo it and you can just pull it towards you, get this bottom bit off. Don't need to take the whole thing off. I think it's attached up there at the top somehow, probably just by clips, but this is enough. So you can just route the wire puller up through the side and it'll come out here. But real quick, I'm going to go grab some extra wire and just extend the length of this because it's not going to reach. All right guys, so I just grabbed some extra wire, and as you can see, I just stripped both ends and use these little joiner tools to put them together. So that should be all good. And then I've just pulled it through up to the top here, so I can put this inside there now and then push this piece back on. But yeah, you can obviously use any method you like to join the wires. I just use these because they're convenient and pretty strong. So I'll also give those an electrical tape just to reduce the risk of any pulling or anything like that from the boot opening, closing. So yeah, those should be all nice and secure. So I'll leave this up here and I'll just close all the rest of this up. All right guys, so as you can see, I have just put this piece back on and this is now routed through here, and I might give that a zip tie just to be neater. Still need to put that screw back in as well, so don't forget that. But basically all we need to do now is hook up this positive and negative wire to the positive and negatives, the orange and the black, on that back, in the corner sort of light bulb there. So we need to cut those cables, and then I'm going to use this little tool here. So I'll show you once I've done it what I've done, but basically you can treat all three blue as a negative continuation and all three orange as positive. So I'm going to put I'm going to put the blue, I'm going to put the negative from our camera into one of the blue ones, and then the other two blue ones I'm going to do on either end of the black cable once I've cut it, and then same thing with the orange, the red one on the orange side. So I'll show you what that looks like once it's done. Guys, there you go. You can see I've chopped and stripped all of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to put everything that's black into the blue side, and then everything that's orange or red into the orange side. So it's a bit cramped in there. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Guys, so as you can see, I've wired that all in. So I've got our positive and negative from the camera in an orange and a blue side, and then the positive and negative from one side of the globe on this side as well. And then on the other side, we've got the other side of the globe. So it's not easy to show, but you can kind of tell what's going on there. And then we've got the thing run through here. And what I've done is I haven't actually routed the cable through yet. I've just thrown it to the front, and I'll show you how you wire it. So basically all that needs to happen is the RCA goes into the purple cam in, which goes into the back of the head unit, and then the red trigger wire coming off of it. You just want to use an SPL connector to connect that to the orange and black reverse in, which comes off of this black plug here. So once that's all hooked up like that, we're ready to plug it in and give it a test run. Guys, so back in the car, just going to grab the units, and we can plug in the main 20-pin black plug, so, and then our grey camera plug here just into the back as well. And those are the only two things you need in here to test this. So I'll just put that back there, just let it rest like that, that's okay. And we'll start up the car and have a look. Unit power's on like we expect, and this will boot faster once you've actually had the unit plugged in. We keep on plugging it though. And let's go, put it in reverse. That's connecting to my phone, and there we go, I got our rear camera there. So that's popped up. If you've done everything as shown in the video, you should have the same thing. So there we go, and that's gone to CarPlay. So now, all we need to do left for the camera is obviously route the cable through the car, which is actually easier than you think. And then we also need to actually screw it on to the part of the car that we've mounted it. So I'll show you how I do that next. All right, so up the step, obviously, we need to now mount this camera. So inside the camera packet, I guess, there's in a little plastic bag, these two self-tapping screws. They also come in a bag with like a sticky pad, but we don't want to use the sticky pad here because it's on the outside of the vehicle. So 2 self-tapping screws. What we need to do is just grab, obviously, like a power tool here, and we just need to line up where we want it to go and screw it in. So I'll go ahead and do that. It's obviously something you need 2 hands for. You want to be able to hold it in place and screw it at the same time. If you want, you can pre-mark out the spot that you want to put it and then go off that, but I'm just going to hold it as middle as I can and then come under here, and there you go, that's one side done. And I'll just grab the other screw and make sure this is straight as well before you do the second screw. Get it really nice and level, and then come under there, just like so. And there we go, that is our reverse camera mounted. You might want to tighten these 2 tiny screws on the side of it, as they're what keep it from like going up and down. If you get it in the spot that you like and you tighten those, then it won't be able to move like this anymore. So that's the only other thing to do. And that's our reverse camera, guys. So what we need to do next, obviously, is route the cable through the car, which we've already got here and just hanging down here. But that's going to be quite easy. I'll show you what we do, but we're just tucking it inside the trim along the roof. So I've also put back everything we took off the back there. It's pretty self-explanatory, just what we did to get it off in reverse. So yeah, all done. So just in the rear passenger seat at the moment, and as you can see, this is what it looks like on the inside of the car. So this process is fairly simple. I'm trying to do it one-handed at the moment, but you basically just want to go along here and just keep pushing it down and do this. And obviously when you get to this part, you can pull this bit off and then go up under this, and then once again resume it there, and I will show you all the way until we're over there, and then we can do the next part of the routing. Going through that section, and then once again, so this part, I mean, you could pull it off and then go even further up under this, like roof stuff, but you can also, it's gonna be good enough to just sort of tuck it along under there, and then yeah, as you can see, it's just sitting there. So yeah, if you want, again, just try and get it up underneath this grey roof material, but it should be staying pretty well like this as well. All right, so we've just come through all of that and down here, all the way down to this point here. So what we're gonna do next is just take off this side panel, which is quite easy to do. I think even with my hands, if I grab the bottom here, I can probably, there you go, a little less violent than that, but yeah, we've got the side off. So now we'll have an easy route once we take off this glove box. So that's also gonna be something I can probably do one-handed. If I just take this out, sort of pull it usually this way, or maybe the other way. Oh no, actually, let's have a look. This i30, I'll just take the stand off the bottom, has these little bits here, so make sure you undo them first. There we go. And then it's just gonna drop down, quite simple. Awesome, all right. So we'll be able to find now a route to wire this through. Obviously this is gonna be able to come through, and then behind there is possible, but so is just along here. So I'll see what's best, and then I'll show you what I've done. All right guys, so this is pretty easy. I didn't even need a wire routing tool. I just put it through this square bit first, and then I sort of went back behind there and fed it through to this hole, so just behind this little bit here, to be honest. And then from there, I'm able to just get it all the way up around here, and then through this hole, back up to here. So I just put a hand on either side and then just pulled it through. There's multiple ways to this, to be honest, so you won't be, you know, in too much difficulty, but yeah, there's lots of space there. And obviously I have now got quite a lot of excess because this is quite a small car for this kind of thing. So I'm just going to wrap it up into a ball, give it a little bit of electrical tape, and then that's that. We've got the camera cable at the front, and we can hook it up how we did when we were testing, and that's all done. So then we can get on with the other parts of the install. If you aren't installing a reverse camera, then you would have just probably skipped a lot of the video because we are almost done with the install. All right, so next up, we just want to do the glove box routings, I guess. I've reinstalled the glove box here, but we've got, I've already put the SIM card through, but it's the same process really. So I'll just loosen the glove box again to show you. So these two things rotate and pop out, let the glove box drop down a bit. And then we've got, here, I'm gonna do our dual USB because I've already got one of our USBs that's just hooked up to that. So the other two, just in case they want to be used in the future or they just want to charge some phones or anything like that, I'm just going to route this white cable up through here. Just use your hands, to be honest. You don't need to use the wire pulling tool for this because it's so close together. And then there we go. You can just have these three things hang out in there. And then our accessory cables, what I've also done is I just grab them sort of at an equal length like this, go back about this far, and then I tape them together so they're just nice and organized and easy to get to. So I'm going to do that for everything, and then we'll move on to the GPS and 4G antenna. All right, so next up, our GPS antenna and our 4G. In this car, this is going to be really simple. There's tons of space up here, which is relatively flat. We can just stick it up there, and then it'll be ready to plug into the unit. So I'll start with the 4G. 4G can actually be stuck onto the unit itself. It's less reliant on there being no metal in the way because it's kind of like your phone. Your phone's not going to stop working if you're in a a car with no view to like the sky or whatever. But yeah, I'll just put it up here because why not? There's plenty of space. Make sure it's sticking properly. There's actually a few bumps and stuff up there with some pressure. And then our GPS antenna, similar thing. I gave it a little wipe up there as well. I reckon you do the same thing just in case there's a bit of dust that's gonna give it trouble adhering. Just take off this and then just back here somewhere flat. There you go, perfect. All right, and then now obviously we've got a ton of extra cable here from these, so I'm gonna wrap it up again and give it some tape just because otherwise it's gonna be really messy. All right, so there we go. We've now got our accessory cables there. We've got our two antennas plus our radio antenna as well, and we've got our power plug. So all that's left to do now, other than putting it in and attaching the bracket to it, is hooking up our microphone, which is completely optional. I'm going to do it in this case just so you can see how to do it as well, and that plugs into here. So I'm going to route this cable down onto the floor, just go through there somewhere, and then we can close it all up, and then I'll just finally route it up to the top there and stick it on. All right, so for the microphone, actually, instead of going to the floor, there's actually quite a convenient way we can just go down and into this stuff. But for now, I'm just gonna put it through like this. Just try and grab it. There we go. And that's the microphone through. I'll go all the way to the back, and I can just leave the microphone dangling down there for now. Plug it in here. It's pretty firm, so you don't really need to worry about taping it. And then that's kind of everything at the head unit side done. So what we're going to do now is go over to the table where we're going to transfer the brackets over onto the unit, and then we'll get ready to plug it in and close it all up. All right, so over on the table, I've already transferred one of the brackets, but basically on either side of the factory unit, you've got these brackets, and you just need to take out 1, 2, 3 screws, take it off, and then on our unit, you've got these like side brackets here, which will take 2 of the factory screws, so using 1 less, and you just take it off, and then once you put it on, it should look like this on the unit. So we'll have the brackets on again, able to be used. All right, so now we just need to plug in the head unit. Now we've got the brackets on, and we can secure everything down. So head unit first, we'll leave this hanging for the second, and we'll just plug in every plug one by one. So got our accessory cables, we've got the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth one already in, don't forget that one. Got our white one there, got our pink one. So those are our 3 USB cables in total. We've got our grey camera one, and then we've got the turquoise one for the SIM card if that gets used. Then we've also got our 3 antenna plugs. So we've got the 4G, GPS, and our factory radio antenna, just like that. And then finally, we've just got our main black 20-pin power plug. So plug this in, shove everything sort of backwards, making sure we're not going in front of the aircon vents or anything like that. Look these up behind there, plenty of space in this car. And just line everything up, brackets. And then you can go ahead and start screwing in all of these screws. So I'll hold it up here and I'll grab my screwdriver. All right, so the screw's done. Just need to push in our vents again. So pretty simple process, just putting it in the way we took it out, pushing. Make sure the bottom all clicks in as well, just like that. And that's looking flush. And then I'll try and do the other side from over here. See how I go. Just like that. And there we go. So that's the unit in and done. You can take off this peel, go ahead and test it out and make sure everything's working. And then I'm also just going to show you in a second how to run the microphone up to the top right of the car. That's the microphone we just had dropping down here. I just popped off this little fuse OBD panel here and routed it under there. And then we just want to get it through this side here. And then we can just go once again, tuck it up through this top trim here, and then just stick it onto there, and we are all done, and we can just close that off. So, all right, so yeah, I just tucked it along the side here and through there, similar to what we did with the reverse cable before, so I won't show it again. And I've just stuck it down here, sort of underneath the stickers, because I don't want to mess with the service stickers or anything like that. So that is completely done now. All we need to do is obviously pop these two bits back on, but that's just a case of pushing them on with the clips, and then we can go and test everything with the brand new unit, all secured there. As you can see, it's nice and flush, and it's very tight as well because it's in there with screws, so there's no sacrifice there. Alright guys, so we've fully installed the unit now. Let's just go through. I just want to run through all the tests with you so you know that everything's working. First thing first, we'll go into reverse, make sure our camera's coming up. If you want this line here, or these reversing lines, then I can show you how to do it in a second. If you're getting blurry lines here, or it's just not the picture quality at all, it could be black or something, I want you to hold it on the screen, tap the settings cog, type 4 zeros. If you put in one of our cameras, make sure this says AHD 1080p25. It's going to default to CVBS NTSC, and that's just not going to work. So make sure it's on this setting here, and you should be getting a picture. If you want the lines but don't have the lines, go into settings, car infotainment, video, and turn on reversing warning line, and you can edit this line. If you go into reverse, hold down on the screen again, tap the cog, but this time type 4 ones. You now have these settings for this. You can change the width, height, anything like that, and that will allow you to, then you can go outside, put some things behind the wheels in like a sort of line, and then you can do your best to line this up to those, and you'll get a pretty accurate description of where your wheels are actually going to be rolling. We want to check as well, our CarPlay is obviously flicked straight across. We can check here as well. While we're in CarPlay, I've got Waze up, and Waze changes colour based on whether it's night or day. Our unit will detect this depending on whether the lights are on or off. So if I turn the lights on manually, as you can see, it becomes night mode on Waze, and our screen dims a bit, and we also get these buttons lit up, which you can change the colour of as well. We have an article on our website for that, but I'll turn them off for now. We've got our radio, obviously that's playing in the background, so that's all working completely normally. You can go in here and change all of your sound equalizer settings, which is a great addition. Steering wheel controls. But yeah, you get a lot more options now with your sound customization than we would have before. So I highly recommend going through and playing with these. Get balance. This isn't enabled at the moment, but if you go into settings, car infotainment, about device, gear icon 8878, and I go into others, there is a setting called BAL80J, which you can enable and save and reboot the unit. So we can just check the GPS with the unit. So if we go into settings, the app, sorry, in here we can go to GPS test, make sure that it's starting to pick up some satellites, and that's going to make sure that the time gets corrected on the unit as well. So as you can see, I've got a few satellites popping up in here, and every time you reboot the unit, it's going to take some time to find them again. I'm inside as well, so it takes more time, but there we go. The accuracy, that will gradually get lower and lower as it starts to get a better read of where I am, typically down to about 3 feet. So it's going to be really good for navigation, and the time's corrected itself as well. So that's pretty much everything that we need to check, which means the unit's functioning great. You can check your USB ports as well. I think at the moment this one down here, the factory one, isn't functioning, so that's why we've routed the USB ports into the glove box, where you can use those instead. It's worth noting we will try and fix this with our manufacturers. For now, if you're still having that issue, then what you want to do is just go and either use one of the ports in there, but for charging, no matter what, even with this working, it's going to be 5 volts, which is slow for charging, and your phone might even lose battery while using CarPlay and charging off of that. If you get a cigarette charger, a cigarette port to USB, you're going to get 12 volts, and that's going to charge your phone 1,000,000 times faster. So I highly recommend that anyway. But yes, we will be trying to talk with our manufacturers to fix this, as this is our first time about getting one of these units in. So yeah, it's just kind of the process that comes with brand new units. But look, any questions that you have for us down the line, please just contact us. Hopefully the video covered a fair bit, but if not, we've got our live chat on our website, our emails, and our phone calls. So just give us a ring, chat, or email, and we will help you out. And that should be the end of the video, guys. Make sure you've changed your microphone setting to external here as well. That's the final thing, if you did bother to put in the external microphone. Otherwise, you can put it on built-in. But yeah, that's the end of everything we need to do. That map won't work, by the way, unless you put in a mobile SIM card, or you have like Starlink or something connected to it. But yeah, phone link is where you're going to want to be for the majority of your driving, obviously, because you've got all the convenience of your phone. Anyway, have a good rest of your day, guys. Hope the install went well, and let us know if you have any questions.